Sawasdee krap and good morning. This is Morning Focus and I'm Pichai Chudsuk-Sawat.
And I am Donsini Kritiya Pimonpan.
Kundonsini, just to update, many Thai newspapers and English language papers are running stories about Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak indicating that he may step down. Well, in fact, he didn't. He passed over his powers to Vice President Omar Suleiman, and this means that he still retains control of the reform process, and clearly the crowd is not happy with that.
Correct.
And with that update, we go on to our main story. Prime Minister Abhisit Vejchachiva yesterday called on Unesco to help ease the border tensions between Thailand and Cambodia.
And meanwhile, the Center for the Administration of Peace and Order, or CAPO, yesterday has announced to close certain parts of the roads around the government house and the parliament while trying to convince the yellow shirt protesters to clear the area without having to use force.
We'll also be updating you on the third reading of the charter amendments today, and the Democrats are confident it'll pass its third and final reading.
And of course, we have commentaries and the comic strip coming right up after the break. And welcome back to Morning Focus. Let's start off with our headlines.
Right.
Kun Pichai. In today's headlines with daily news, troops added on both sides of the border. Now F-16 flies over Phra Vihan skies, and Cambodia prepares to go to war and have evacuated from 100 kilometers radius of the border. Now authorities have tried to downplay the border tension by saying the F-16 fighter planes flew yesterday was part of a military exercise, and it was flown into the area by mistake. Now, the military drill, Kun Pichai, was actually held in Nakhon Ratchasima, but the F-16 fighter jets was found flown over in Sisagate province,
Right.
which is about 300 kilometers away.
It's a mistake.
Correct.
Meanwhile, the next headline is from Thailand, where the government insists that will use peaceful means to end the border conflict. The subsidiary headline says that representatives from both countries, that's Thailand and Cambodia, will meet the United Nations Security Council on Monday, that's Monday, not our time, and have urged both countries to exercise restraint.
And in other headlines, in Thailand, coalition partners Chat Thai Pathana's Banhan Silapa Asha and Chawarat Chan Wiragoon of Phumjai Thai Party advises the Prime Minister not to dissolve the House, and the PM has said that he would dissolve the House in the first half of the year. However, both coalition partners believe that the Prime Minister should solve the Thai-Cambodian border conflicts before dissolving the Parliament, and dissolving the Parliament amid border tensions would, in fact, create a more problem. Meanwhile, the government is confident that the final reading of the charter amendment, while Phumjai Thai also denies bribing parliamentarians to vote in support of the amendments.
Right. Our main story today deals with the border dispute. Prime Minister Abhisit Vejchachiva has called on UNESCO to defuse the border conflict between Thailand and Cambodia. Now, the Prime Minister, he believes that if UNESCO manages to diffuse tensions, the two sides would agree to hold talks without pressure, as the two countries want their peoples along the border to live peacefully. Now, the Prime Minister blames the listing of Phra Vihan Temple as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and its management plan as the reason for the dispute. Kundonsini.
And he also brushed aside calls for intervention by other countries to resolve the border row by saying that the conflict must end through bilateral mechanisms. Now, Prime Minister Abhisit stressed that Thailand needed to ensure that facts are presented to the international community. He believed when the facts are clarified, the international community will support the bilateral efforts of the two countries to resolve the conflict. And he also added that photos of Phra Vihan being used by Cambodian troops to mount attacks on Thailand would also be advantageous for Thailand. Now, the photos have proved that Cambodia had failed to comply with the intention of the listing of the temple as a World Heritage Site.
Right. Meanwhile, Natural Resources and Environment Minister Sawit Kunkiti and the head of the Joint Boundary Commission for Thailand, Asada Chayanam, will fly to Paris today to explain the border situation to Unesco. Now, Kun Suwit said he was preparing information for this explanation, explaining that the adverse repercussions of the listings of Khao Pravihan will have, and its impact on relations between Thailand and Cambodia. Now, he insisted that the listing of the temple was not in line with the requirements of the World Heritage Convention, and that the borderland where the temple is located is not yet clearly demarcated. And without a proper management plan, the listing of the temple is premature.
And the Second Army Chief Thawat Chai Samut Sakhon said yesterday the border situation has improved since the clashes a few days ago, although the situation there remains tense. He said that Thai-Cambodia JBC is expected to meet for talks to find a solution to the border row shortly, and that Thai villagers who have fled their villages to escape fighting on the border should be able to return home over the next few days, and the government will take measures to rehabilitate the people affected by the clashes and to help repair the damaged properties. And according to reports, this will take place sometime next week. And it is also interesting to know that, some villagers have started to come home, and troops on both sides of the border have been reinforced.
Yeah, the issue is that they're both reinforcing troops on either side.